Welcome back, guys, to the Intrusive Talks podcast. I'm Ding, and today is the second episode of our mini series following Great Pretender.
Hey, let's get it. Looking forward to it.
Yep.
So, first initial reaction. What do you think?
Of the second episode,
Yeah.
it was pretty good. It kind of followed what I thought was gonna happen, but the build up and all the background of Edamura was. I thought the background of him was like a key part that really made me like him as a character even more.
So, I didn't expect it, but it makes way more sense to do some sort of background episode for this one just because we get to figure out what Edamura is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to jump off and say a little quick summary of the episode. So, Makoto recalls. So we see a flashback of him. He animates sick mom, very generic, but it's got to be something that pushes him. And when I took down notes, I hopefully they did make use of the mother, and I guess they kind of did.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens was that he was at this point of just selling, I guess, herbal tea to basically say that it cures all kind of a lot of different,
Like ailments and all that.
yeah. And he got his bag, But then when the company got called up by like the federal government, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
they basically threw Edamura under the bus, and because of that, he got jailed for 3 years, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Went to jail for 3 years, and he was always kind of like consoling his mom, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be doing good. Don't worry about anything." And then come back after he gets released from jail, mom's done, dead.
That scene was so like it wasn't like the most sad thing I've ever seen, but I felt sad because she was like the only person that was there for him. Like they brought up how his dad like basically made life hard for him,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that the one person that was supporting him through everything is just dead. Classic.
Yeah, and the thing is that this whole time he's been getting blamed for his father's actions of being like a criminal, and he's always just trying to fight against like, well, once his mom dies, change this. He's like, you know what? If I'm gonna called a criminal, I might as well just be a criminal at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I thought that flip into him being a scam artist and like a con man was pretty interesting because he basically became what he didn't want to in the end, like what his dad was and what I guess he was trying not to follow and what everyone was yeah, like what you just said, like what
yeah.
everyone was claiming him as, and then he just became like a crazy good con guy.
I mean,
Something that I wanted to bring up. It doesn't really have to do with that part, but in the last episode we were talking about the difference between dub and sub.
yeah.
And when I was flipping in between, Laurent calls like con men confidence men and like confidence women. But then in the sub, it's just like con man, con lady.
Oh,
And I was trying to figure out why like he was calling them like confidence men. And then it kind of pieced, I mean, it's just like makes sense, but it pieced together where in the beginning of this episode, Edamura was a great salesman basically, which made him a great con man. And I feel like to be great at that, you have to have confidence and be able to sell things. So I just thought the wordplay of like confidence man was like just I don't know, it was just like a nice
it's a
little
nice little sweet touch to
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. I liked it. I think it was either this episode or last episode where they called Edamame. That's your
Yeah,
name, bro.
yeah. No, from the beginning, Laurent was just calling him edamame.
I still call him Edamame at this point.
Should we just call him edamame?
His name is Edamame from now on.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But what I kind of did like was that what's it called? Lauren's justification for scamming Eddie, because he's saying like Eddie was a bad person where he was like
Mm.
notorious and bringing in all these drugs to Hollywood, and that's how he is to where he got to this day. Not because of his bad movies that he's been selling left and right, but because of all the drugs he's bringing in and like fucking up the whole ecosystem of it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why he justifies him conning Eddie to be a good thing
Mm-hmm.
versus the way that Edamora was like scamming. It wasn't to just. It didn't really have a justification. It was more of him just fighting against the world at that point.
Yeah, it was just sort of him like being rebellious, and even though like Eddie, the producer guy, like he is a bad guy, and all the people that he hangs out with are like bad dudes. Um, I feel like when Laurent reveals that like him and his team like con the crooks, it makes you, even though they're like technically scamming, it makes you want them to win and succeed.
Yeah, like they do plant Eddie as like the worst of the two, I guess. So that's why you kind of root for Laurent.
Mm-hmm.
But Adam Moore's just in a shitty situation himself, though. Like his man's never winning. He's just taking L after L after L.
Yeah.
And the way that this kind of like is shown through his fight with Abby. So he tries to sneak out at night after Loren and Abby catches him to force him to basically do a trade. And he's basically like saying how Abby doesn't understand the life he lives, but Abby's calling him basically like a bitch. Like he's like really saying, you don't know what it means to struggle in life and shit like that. The man's like, what do you mean, bro? I've been doing this shit my whole life.
Yeah. She like calls him like a little nerdy virgin. But for some reason I feel like there's like there was some sexual tension there.
I don't know, like maybe, but also I think Abby is just like just shitting on him. Like I do think there might be a romantic like inclination later on in the series, but I think it's a bit too early for that.
I think yeah, not anytime soon, but I think it's probably gonna happen at some point. I feel,
Yeah,
especially because Laurent was sort of like egging it on.
but that's just Laurent. I feel like he's just being a fucking
I
dickhead.
don't, I don't know. This man's 10 steps ahead. He
I
could be
know
calling
that's
it. He
true.
could be calling it.
I
He's
don't
calling
know.
game
But
7 right now.
if it does happen, that'd be cool. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen.
Mm,
But going back to how the argument happened was, I think he was also calling Abby, like, I mean, justice warriors,
mm-hmm.
and I don't think it just fit with it because like you can't be just like throwing like fucking insulting us like that when you don't be living that life.
Yeah, doesn't really get it.
Yeah, but it's just also the way that Abby thinks he's lived a hard life, but she should know more about him, the way he lived his own life. Because Lorraine was like, yeah, I know everything about you, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just ignorance versus ignorance. Like,
I think that's the role she plays, though. She's just like sort of that tough character that's like, I don't know. I guess hard to break and always like busting his balls. I guess.
yeah, maybe busting his balls in the future though.
Hey,
Hey.
in more ways than one, yes, sir. But yeah.
So going back to how he basically leaves, Loren and Abby are just waiting on him, and then Loren's like, "Oh, he'll probably show up in this afternoon." Doesn't show up in the afternoon. He's like, "Okay, let's make a new plan. Let's go." Goes to Eddie's mansion,
Mm-hmm.
and next thing you know, he's like telling Eddie like, "Hey, I don't think it's gonna work out." The dude ran away with the candy, drugs. Yeah, I can't tell you anymore. And then next thing you know, Eddie comes to him saying like, "What do you mean? Like he's right over there. He told us he's gonna sell for 10. Like he raised it for 10 mil." And Loren's like, "No fucking shot, you're selling for 10 mil." I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I bought it for 10 mil."
Yeah.
So now this is where he gets the last laugh at Mame basically. He
Mm-hmm.
gets the last laugh saying like, "Since I won the fucking bet, since I sold 10 mil, double it just to bang on your head like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not even like 6 mil, 7 mil, 10 mil.
Yep.
Those and I was like, you're my lackey from now on."
Yeah, dude. Nah, when that happened, I was like, bro, big baller right here. He was just in the pool playing with the girls.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, what?
Straight up big dick energy, bro. I was like, big dollar, big dick energy, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But after, so that's how it basically ends the what's it called? The episode. So for my predictions for the future, I think Edamame is still too green. Like no pun intended, but
That's basically what my thoughts were for the next one, that it's gonna lead into Edamame's like training arc, sort of, as like a moving up to the next level of cons, which I think makes sense because like it kind of opens up with like Eddie and like the con that they're doing to him. It's like big, like 5 million, 10 million, like it's like opening the doors for Edamame to like just go into a different level of scamming. And I think the next episode or next like few is going to be sort of like maybe like a training arc sort of vibe.
I was thinking more in terms of an arc where he's definitely gonna get in a really worse situation, or he might, like I said with the past episode, if you guys didn't see it, that he's gonna be dealing with like the government and shit. But now he's gonna be in a really fucking tight situation, and he wouldn't know what to do from there. And I think he's just so green that he's gonna definitely fuck up, and it's gonna be his first fall basically. So he's gonna fall, and then that's where he goes into the training arc to become a better con artist.
I see. Yeah.
But I also think that later on, I'm gonna be looking forward to Abby's backstory, like the way she become, like the way that she is now, like what's her backstory? Maybe she was like an orphan back then.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, gets trained on being a con artist.
I was gonna say, I think she's like the classic. She has a classic character trope of like this hardened person from like just her life, and it's gonna be a flashback to like, I don't know, a soft little girl that gets like her life just gets fucked over out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, so like Batman story.
Yeah,
like,
basically.
Parents got killed. Now she becomes an con artist.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's also exactly. But I hope I start to like the character a bit more later on because I think she's like
very surface level right now.
Yeah, she's very surface level, but she's also just like very rude to like Edamame, and I'm kind of root for Edamame.
Yeah, they did a good. Hey, did a good job. You're rooting for him.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him, bro. That's how you know that there's not really any good and bad people. It's just more like who are you rooting for, like where you want to see the story go, who are you cheering for. So definitely cheering for my boy Edamame.
Yep.
Hey, I don't got anything else to add to you.
Well, I kind of said it already, but I think there's just gonna be flirting between Edamame and Abby. I think it's gonna happen. Maybe not the next one, but at some point it's gonna happen.
I think there's gonna be a time where he's gonna save her life at one point.
Oh yeah, and then she's gonna like be soft out of nowhere.
Yeah, soft out of nowhere.
Yeah. He's gonna do something nice. She's gonna do something that like I'm gonna guess the origin story. Like her mom's dead. She's raised by her dad, and then he like her dad just like does something specific. He dies too. Then she becomes a con artist. I don't know, like Edamame one day just like does something to remind her of her dad.
Shit. No. So backing off your origin story, dad's a gambler. Gambles all of his life savings away. Sells her to a con artist. Trains up her as a con artist.
Oh.
Yeah.
That could be good. No, this is a different one. So there's a guy who's he's a con artist on the street, and she is like an orphan at this point, just living on the street, and she tries to steal from him, and then he catches her, but instead of punishing her, he trains her.
Ooh, that'd be it.
Yeah.
Well, regardless of parents are dead.
Yeah.
And with that, guys, we're gonna end this little short episode of our TV series review. I don't know the title of this, but we'll figure it out later on. But hopefully you guys like, subscribe, comment down below if you guys want to see more of this, or if you guys want to change it up, let us know.
Until next time.
Peace.
Peace.